So, sorry for that technical interruption. So, Haridas Thakur, well, I was saying that, some devotees have trouble finding the nectar in japa. Like kirtan, where you can run around with your friends and jump up and down and bang on drums and just kind of go native for a while in Krishna consciousness. And but when you just sit down, to chant with no one else there, it's just you and Krishna. It's you don't have any friends there. There's no music. There's no dancing. It's just you and Krishna. And japa is often the first thing to go. Someone's having difficulty in their spiritual life. Often the first casualty is japa, because you can always find time to sing and dance with your friends, or that one of the pillars of bhakti yoga, which is overeating. We can always find time for those things, but just to sit down alone with Krishna, just to sit down or stand up or whatever you're doing, just to be alone with Krishna. No music, no friends, not even intellectual stimulation like from reading. It's just you and Krishna, and just the Krishna's name. And if you are not seeing Krishna in his name, it's going to be a long 16 rounds. So, and the only way we can see Krishna in his name is if we really open our heart to Krishna and really just give ourselves to the holy name, and in the holy name, Krishna will give himself to us. So if you discover Krishna in his names, you could say, well, Haridas Thakur, he just chanted all day, every day, and that's interesting. I mean, it's glorious, but it's interesting. That's all he did. But the point is, if, like Haridas Thakur, you actually find Krishna in his names, then the holy names are just a portal, I think the word is. It's just a gateway into the spiritual world. Haridas Thakura was chanting the holy names all day because he was actually in the spiritual world. And his body was just chanting, and he was there. He was really there. And so it's not that, Krishna is never boring, not the real Krishna. You could say, well, it's just the same 6 syllables, Hare, Krishna, and Rama. And so, but if you really understand Krishna's name, you have entered infinity. You have, in Krishna's name, everything's in Krishna. Krishna says, Yo mam pashyati sarvatra, one who sees me everywhere. And Yo mai sarvam pashyati, one who sees everything in me. So when you actually understand the holy name, it's a gateway into an infinite world. So there's no real question of getting bored. If someone's bored or distracted chanting japa, it's clearly they are not really, they've forgotten something very important, that actually Krishna's there in his name, and all the universes are there in the name. All the spiritual worlds are there in the name. You are there in the name, because everything is in Krishna. So japa, properly understood and properly done, is, there's nothing more fun than that. So really, japa, because you can, people amuse themselves singing and dancing even if they're not in spiritual consciousness. Sometimes you see in temples where, it gets very masculine, it gets very almost like tribal. It can get pretty tribal and pretty, and sometimes you can think, well, it's not necessarily reminding me of Krishna, it's more like some primitive ritual or something. And so, or eating, even if you're not having your best Krishna conscious day, Gauranga potatoes are Gauranga potatoes. And so what's really interesting about japa, and it's also interesting, and I'm talking about japa because this was Haridas Thakur's process. Even though, as we know, we have to read our sacred literature, we have to associate with devotees, we have to do so many things, offer our food, but in the initiation vow, there are 4 things you promise not to do, and there's only one thing you promise to do. To be initiated in Prabhupada's line, you only promise to do one thing. Even though so many things are important, that is japa. Because japa is the one thing you can't fake. I mean, you can devour a prasadam feast no matter what you're thinking about inside. And you can even run around with your friends and, sing and dance. Everyone does that. Non-devotees do that. They have parties, it's like, sort of like Gaudiya Vaishnava party time or something. So you can do all those things without a lot of Krishna consciousness. Of course, you can also do them with Krishna consciousness, but japa, nah. You can't fake japa, because if you're not Krishna conscious, you're just sitting there mumbling to yourself for 2 hours, so and you just want to get up and you're thinking about so many things, isn't it? And it's like, okay, 1 round, check my cell phone 5 times, 1 round, 5 more times, check my phone. And so japa is a real test. Japa is a real test of Krishna consciousness. There's no material payoff in japa. Other than you could say, well, meditation, just fixing your mind on one point kind of calms the mind. So you could say it's just, meditation in general. But even people that just do these little meditations that calm their mind and make them mindful and all that, they don't do it for 2 hours or an hour and a half, and they don't do it that long. So the fact that Haridas Thakura was ecstatically chanting japa all day, every day, shows how advanced he was. He was completely immersed in the spiritual world. So Haridas Thakura, you can see, had all good qualities. It's just his tolerance of pain, tolerance of pleasure, compassion, attachment to the holy name, humility. Haridas Thakura simply had all good qualities. He's a perfect example of a pure Vaishnava having all good qualities. So, any question on these topics? Yes.
And when was he doing his door-to-door preaching in Nityananda? Was that before he started doing the 300,000 rounds? 300,000 rounds?
That's a good question. When Haridas was going to Nityananda, door to door, was it before or after he began his vow of chanting 300,000 names? I can't answer that. You have to go look it up. It's a good question. No other questions? I don't think that. Oh, here's a question. For me, it's still inconceivable how 3 personalities with completely different backgrounds could take birth as Haridas Thakura. What's that?
There's a new Brahman too.
I wonder who of them manifested more in Haridas Thakura, Lord Brahma, Prahlad Maharaj, or Mahatapa, son of Richika Muni? Yeah, that's a very good question. It's these 2 people inhabiting one body. It's unusual. And so did they mean that these people perfectly embody the mood of certain personalities? Was it actually 2 people inside one body? Did they take turns? We really don't have that information. There's a Gaur Gano Desh Deepika, which means shedding light on the on the associates of Lord Chaitanya. But yeah, I don't think we have enough information in our Shastras to really analyze it very far. It doesn't seem like. And so if you have a situation where we learn something which is very different than anything we have experience of, and we just don't have more information on it, and I just, for me, it's kind of like that Beatles song, let it be. Because I think we're just not given enough information. Maybe someday we'll have realizations. Okay, another question. How can we tolerate without being abused by others? That's a good question. Okay, tolerance does not mean letting people abuse you. That's not what tolerance means. We should never allow anyone to abuse us in any way, not mentally, not physically, emotionally. So to be tolerant, tolerance is something that begins after you have done everything you should do to protect yourself. In other words, it's the duty of every soul to pursue their own rational self-interest. That's not selfish, it's taking seriously that you're part of Krishna. It's valuing yourself as an eternal soul and understanding that Krishna cares about you very deeply. Krishna loves you infinitely. And therefore, a certain type of self-love is necessary to be Krishna conscious. If you don't, because, I mean, it's good to be humble. You know, we're all working on that one. But we're trying to see everything as Krishna sees it, not in the sense of becoming omniscient or becoming God, but in the sense of learning from Krishna. That's what Jnana Yajna is. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that Shreyan Dravyamaya Yajna Jnana Yajna Parantapa. Better than just offering paraphernalia, incense, lamps, and so on, which of course we do. But Krishna says better than that is the sacrifice of knowledge, which means seeing things as Krishna sees it, rather than, it's like, let's say you have incense, rather than trying to enjoy it yourself, you offer to Krishna for his pleasure. So we have consciousness. And so rather than trying to enjoy our consciousness, even knowledge is trying to, we offer to Krishna our consciousness in the sense of surrendering to Krishna's view of reality, because Krishna is omniscient, he knows everything. And so any other view of reality will be incomplete and imperfect, because any other view of reality is coming from someone who is not omniscient. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains reality. He explains what reality, what really exists and what doesn't. And so if you offer your mind to Krishna, if you offer your consciousness to Krishna to be filled with his knowledge, to be filled with his teachings, that's Jnana Yajna. And Krishna says that is better than just offering paraphernalia and kind of not being a nice person, or not really seeing the world as Krishna sees it. Not having a ritual worldview where you just see life as just a series of rituals, rather than seeing that there are souls everywhere. And these souls are very much loved by Krishna, and Krishna is everywhere. So offering your consciousness, which is really you, offering your consciousness completely to Krishna so that he can fill it with his knowledge. So in that sense, getting back to this question, in that sense, Krishna loves you, and Krishna sees you as his child. And so therefore, if you accept yourself from Krishna's point of view, if you accept yourself as a child of Krishna, as part of Krishna, and if you know that Krishna will absolutely not approve of anyone abusing you, then to allow anyone to abuse you is to reject Krishna's vision of you. It's to not understand yourself as Krishna understands you, not to see yourself as Krishna sees you. That's why too much, oh, I'm terrible, I'm the most fallen. It's like, okay, that's nice. Now, let's move on here. So that's why depression is a lack of Krishna consciousness. Depression is just, it's almost like another form of narcissism. Because either when you're very proud or very depressed, all you think about is yourself. It's just, you know, okay, I tried to become the center of everything by achievements. I flopped, I didn't make it, so now I'll become the center of reality by becoming the supreme object of pity. So it's just another self-centered strategy, depression. Anyway, so yeah, so you should never allow anyone to abuse you, because if anyone abuses you, they are completely offending Krishna. I mean, how does any parent feel when someone abuses their child? So therefore, if you actually understand that you're part of Krishna, you could never allow anyone to abuse you. And then once you've made every effort to avoid abuse, then just whatever life is for you, just tolerate it. So let's see, any other questions? That's it. Well, happy Haridas Thakura Parents' Day to everyone. And hope to see you all again soon. People are actually right here. I'm going to see them very soon. Okay, Hare Krishna.